The next lesson is called Sustainability, Green Buildings, and Climate Change. Module 5.1 is going to talk about sustainability, some definitions, and some equilibrium concepts from physics. So let's begin. So what does sustainability mean? We use that word so much today. Well, essentially it's the ability to meet present needs without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs. Well, it makes perfect sense, this definition, and it was actually devised in 1987 at a UN conference. And we use this term quite a lot today, whether it's with environment, economies, or even energy sources. Are they sustainable? But we also use the word green, and how does that relate to sustainability? Well, the way I see it, we use the word green as a characteristic of buildings, chemicals, products, even technologies. And sometimes I see green as being low impact. Is it environmentally compatible? So green is sort of an impact rating. Now, sustainable is a broader term. And the way I see this is to live more sustainably, you need to adopt green practices. So for us to have a sustainable economy, a sustainable environment, we need green buildings, green products. We need them to be low impact so they'll be available for future generations. Now, the second part of this lesson is going to cover entropy, equilibrium, and its relationship to sustainability. Now, let's look at this. I think you all agree that it takes a lot of effort to keep that lawn on the left green like that and the house so pretty. And it takes even more energy to keep the garden on the right so pristine. So taking energy requires generally for us to go into an ordered state. If we do not do anything to these properties, I think you'll all agree they'll probably look something like this. Everything will go wild. You've all seen images of futuristic movies in New York where the trees and the lawns and the grasses grow, and within a few decades it goes back to its quote-unquote natural state. As a matter of fact, what would you look like if you didn't groom yourself for hours all week long? I think we'd all know the answer to that one. So it takes a lot of energy to look good, and it also takes a lot of energy to create order. And those buildings on the left and the far right are extremely orderly. Nature doesn't like order. It likes diversity. It likes chaos, and it moves into that stream. And this is actually called the second law of thermodynamics, where entropy, disorder, will increase in time unless you apply energy to prevent it. And again, think about it, and it does make perfect sense. Now, the second principle here is Le Chatelier's principle. And I like this being a chemist because it talks about chemical reactions. And if you put a stress on one part of a chemical reaction, it moves into the other direction. And essentially it says a reaction moves in the direction of least stress. Whether it's people on a subway that then migrate to low density parts of a subway car or a train station, or whether it's food sources moving in the direction of less stress, or people moving in the direction of less stress. What's happening with the migration of people outside of certain countries is a way of Le Chatelier's principle. There's a lot of stress. The only way to remove it is to leave. Now, when we look at nature, we see that we often confuse nature and beauty as synonymous. Central Park is anything but natural. This is a completely artificial park. Everything was placed here. Even some of the boulders were brought in. The lakes were carved out, and the paths and the trees were planted. There is nothing natural about this park. However, it's absolutely gorgeous, and I don't deny that. Likewise, this photograph is absolutely gorgeous and pristine, but I think we all agree it is not natural. As a matter of fact, it takes a tremendous amount of energy to keep it this way. And if you stop putting in that energy, well, it would probably look like a natural lake, which is what you see here. Well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation is one of my favorites. And again, I don't mean to knock nature, but let's not confuse nature and beauty. They're sometimes two very different things. Okay, that's it.